pastor who used to say to me that a rut is nothing but a grave with the ends knocked out of it. Let that sink in for a moment. That's exactly how being in a rut feels, isn't it? Almost like you're dying, drowning, you're overwhelmed, there's no way to get ahead. You keep doing something over and over, and it gets you nowhere. You keep trying with no success, and it's like the proverbial phrase where you're just digging yourself into a bigger hole. Anybody ever been there? Have you ever wondered what does it take to get out of a rut? Have you ever wondered how do you really make life change? How do you stop spinning the wheels and going nowhere? How do you move on with your life? Well, that's what we're going to be talking about today. In fact, the title of today is How Do You Get Out of a Rut? How do you get out of a rut? Let's look at a man who had to do just that. John chapter 5. After this, there was a feast of the Jews, and Jesus went up to Jerusalem. Now, there in Jerusalem by the sheep gate was a pool in Aramaic called Bethesda, which had 5 roofed colonnades. In these lay a multitude of invalids, blind, lame, and paralyzed. One man was there who had been an invalid for 38 years. When Jesus saw him lying there, and knew that he'd already been there, the pool with the water stirred up, and while I'm going, another one steps down before me. Jesus said to him, "Get up, take up your bed and walk." And at once this man was healed, and he took up his bed and walked. This man had no name. Isn't that interesting? Whenever the writer John decided to write about this man, he doesn't have a name. One man was there who had been an invalid for 38 years. He had no name, and the only way that people knew him was by his condition. He was a man who was stuck in the same position for 38 years. He was a lonely, no-name, paralyzed individual. Can you imagine doing something over and over for 38 years with no success? He was by a place where breakthrough could happen, but it didn't in his life. That means he must have saw other people being healed. He must have seen other people whose lives were being transformed. He must have seen people who were in horrible states, but then all of a sudden, because of their miracle, they moved on. But he was stuck doing the same thing over and over and over, watching other people get their miracles, and he had no results. That would be a horrible place to be. And yet that's where we find ourselves sometimes, isn't it? Do any of you ever just do the same thing over and over and over again with no results? And you wonder, did God forget where I was at? Did God overlook me? Am I a nobody to God? Does God even know my name? I mean, I'm where I'm supposed to be. I'm where I'm seeing everybody else get breakthrough, but I'm still doing this thing over and over and over again, but nothing changes. That's where this man was. I know I do it sometimes. I still do things over and over and over again, yet I never get out of my rut. I never move forward. Maybe you find yourself the same way. Are you thinking the same way you did 38 years ago? Has your mind changed? Are you still the negative person? Negativity will never move you forward. Amen. How about in your relationships? Are you still angry at that person you were 38 years ago? If that's the case, you're never going to get past it. There's certain things we have to let go. We have to change. Do you still yell? At people. I know, I'm not going to go there. I don't want to step on some people's toes that are here.
Wait a minute.
But you need, yeah.
Don't you drive?
Yeah, exactly. You're like, don't go there, don't go there. Don't do it. But are you still yelling at your kids, expecting them to change? Have they changed yet? Probably not. Why do we keep doing the same thing over and over and over again? Isn't that insanity? Doing the same things over and over again but expecting different results? Why do we do that? Why do we do that? But that's where this man was. And that's where many of us find ourselves in our lives. We're doing the same things over and over, running back to the same things again and again and again, expecting for them to bring fulfillment, but they haven't yet. That's okay. Because today, that's what we're here for. We're going to learn how to get out of the rut. When Jesus saw him lying there and knew that he had already been there a long time, he said to him, "Do you want to get healed?" Do you want to get healed? What kind of question is that? The dude's been laying there at a place that people have been getting healed at. And Jesus had the audacity to ask him, "Do you want to get healed?" You could almost see Jesus challenging this man's status quo. It's almost like Jesus walked up to him and said, "You need to change what you're doing. If you don't expect to get healed." All in love, though. But yet, isn't that it's an amazing challenge. It's something we really have to ask ourselves. Jesus is basically telling him, your life is going to change. You won't be able to lay around anymore. Have you thought about the consequences of what you're really wanting? Have you really thought about the fact that if you get healed, you can't come and lie around here anymore. You can't act the same the way you were. You have to change the way you think. You have to change the way you act. You have to change of what you're doing. You can't just lay your mat down, or just be stuck here, enjoy the pool, listen to the breeze, but you're going to have to actually go get a job now. Your life is going to change. Is that really what you want? Is that really what you want? See, we need to understand that when Jesus gets hold of our life, and we really want to get out of this rut, things in our lives are going to change. They will change. We won't be able to act the way we used to. We won't be able to yell at our kids anymore. We won't be able to panic when the bills aren't being paid on time. Life will change. And we have to understand and come in terms with the fact that if we really want to be healed, if we really want breakthrough in our life, we have to know that we can't go back to the way things used to be. And what I thought was so interesting is the fact of this man's response. Do you want to get healed? Does that sound like a yes/no question? Yes. Yes, I do, or no, I don't. Someone's like, "Hey, would you like a cup of coffee?" You're going to say what? Yes. Yes or no. That's what kind of question this is. Look at the man's response. The sick man answered him, "Sir, I have no one to put me into the pool, and the water is stirred up, and while I'm going, another steps down before me." Did he really answer it?
No. What was he?
He didn't really answer. What did he do?
Excuses.
Excuse. He made an excuse.
Yes.
He made an excuse. And not only did he make an excuse, he blamed others for his life being where it was at. I would have the perfect life if so-and-so didn't treat me this way. I would have the perfect life if I didn't have to go and do that. I would have the perfect life if Caleb would speak to me nicer.
Oh.
Sorry, that's Stephen in the bus. He made excuses. And the crazy thing about excuses, I love this. I know this must be a gospel. Excuses may sound great, but they're lead balloons to your dreams. We think they set us free from the responsibility, but yet they chain us to our circumstances. I'm going to say that again because I want that to sink in. Excuses may sound great, but they're lead balloons to your dreams. You may think they set you free from responsibility, but they chain you to your circumstances. Your life will never get better. Your life will never move forward to the call that God's placed on you. Your life will always forever be stuck by the pool of mercy. That's what the says in that. Your life will always be stuck there if you make excuses. And one of the excuses that this man made was that it was somebody else's fault. And he allowed a root of bitterness to come into his life, and he decided to blame others. And we have to learn to let other people go in forgiveness and release them if we want our lives to be released to go do what God's called us to do. Because unforgiveness and bitterness does nothing but chain us to our past. We will never reach our future if we're chained to our past. We have to forgive. We have to move on. We can learn some great things about the good old days, but we have to let the good old days go because the best is yet to come.
Amen.
So excuses. He made an excuse. And Jesus, in his love and tenderness, said, "You poor thing, you must be so sad to be here by yourself. Nobody will help you." No, look what Jesus said. I love it. Now remember, Jesus is full of love, right? Because before I go here, I want you to understand. Jesus is full of love, right?
Yes.
Yes. Jesus is full of love. He wants what's best for you. He wants what's best for you, for you, for you, for you, for you. He wants what's best for us. And instead of coddling the man, instead of going, "You poor thing, honey, it's going to be okay," look what he says. "Get up, take up your bed, and walk." Let it go. Get up. Stop making excuses.
Get up.
The one person that can really help you is here. Stop looking for everybody else to fix your problems. Let that sink in. Stop looking for everybody else to come into your life and fix your problems. Jesus is standing here in front of that man saying, "I'm the one who can set you free. Get up, take up your bed, and walk." And that's what he's telling us. Jesus is here. He wants to be involved in your life personally, and say, "Get up. Take up your bed. Stop looking for other people to fix your problems. Take responsibility yourself. Put action to what you want. Put action to what you want. Go for it. Stop looking for other people to fix it. Stop waiting for somebody to send a check in the mail to pay for your bill for your Discover card that you let go late. Let the rubber meet the road. Stop expecting for that one person to come to you and act so sweetly to try to pick you up because you had a hard day. Stop looking for everybody else to fix your problems. Run to God. Jesus is the only one that's going to really be able to help you anyway.
That's right.
Change your perspective. Change your attitude. That's how you get out of a rut. Doing the same things over and over. Insanity. You'll never get different results. It'll always be the same. Always, always, always. Jesus said, "Get up," and commanded action. Let go of the excuse. Action. And what happens? At once. Everybody say at once.
At once.
At once the man was healed, and he took up his bed and walked. He got up. What would have happened if he would have said, "Oh, thank you so much for the instruction, Jesus," but still lie there? He would have still been stuck there. There's no telling how many more years the man would have sat there and watched everybody else get their healing, their breakthrough, their miracle. And he would have been stuck. We must be obedient and do something if we want our lives to move forward. We must be obedient to whatever God is telling us to do if we want our lives to move forward. What is he telling you to do? Forgive? Has he told you to become a giver? Has he told you to invite someone to church? Has he told you to show the love of Jesus on someone? Did he tell you to go pray for your neighbor? Did he tell you to bless those that persecute you? Alex, I don't like that one, do you? What's he telling you to do? If you want your life to change, you have to be obedient to what he's saying. Did he tell you to give him? In fact, he said this, believe on me so you can have life eternal. Some people online right now, I believe, they're scared to give their life to Jesus. What happens if I give my life to Jesus? I'll become a nut. You'll be stuck there. You'll be stuck there. It's up to you. It's up to you. As Mark Batterson says, this is faith in action. Our obedience is faith in action. Faith without works is dead. We must pray like everything depends on God, but we must work like it all depends on us. If you have a relationship in your life that needs to be fixed, you just can't pray about it. Maybe you should go and say you're sorry. Or if there's issues going on in that relationship, maybe you're supposed to go talk with them and say, hey, can we just talk this out? You add prayer, but it takes both. You see, God calls us co-laborers. He partners with us. Think like a corporation. You're a partner with them. God's the majority. He's the boss. If he's telling you, if you will do what he tells you to do, that's where breakthrough comes through. So what's he telling you to do? What's he telling you to do? I thought long and hard about what could be the takeaway from today. You know, in preaching terms, they call it the sticky statement. You know, the one statement that will stick with you all week. You can't let go of. You know, it's stuck there. And I thought of one, and I asked Heather about it because it was kind of funny. And she's like, go ahead and say it, but let me say it, and then I'll explain it, okay, before any of y'all start throwing stuff at me. Are you ready? Are you ready? I want to say it just like how I put it on here.
There's Ross.
I want to hide. No.
Yeah, put your shield up, there's Ross.
Yeah, I know, you literally stole me. No, the sticky statement, the takeaway. What I want you to understand, if you want to get out of a rut, obey and get off of your butt. But it's true. If you want to get out of a rut, obey and get off of your butt. You'll forever be stuck in the same place you've always been if you don't obey what God's telling you to do and put it into action. But it's so much more fun to say, get off your butt. That just is...
Yeah, what you tell your kids?
Yeah, I know. Get to work. Get to work. Put energy to your faith. So we can't keep doing the same thing over and over to fix our lives. It doesn't work. We can't fix it. And we can't expect other people to fix it. Only Jesus can fix it, and he gives us the power to get up and walk.
That's right, yes.
You see, we must allow Jesus to challenge us to make a change. We must change our thoughts. We must change our attitudes. We must change our opinions, our actions, our perspective. We have to change it, because if those don't change, our circumstances will not change. Yes, God can deliver you instantaneously from your problem, but usually he works on you during the problem, and you're changed as you walk through it. And you're victorious, and you're a witness to other people. So, I put here, we need to get fed up enough with our current situation, not to grumble and complain about it, but to pray and do something about it. So, let's go ahead and pray. Think about an area that God, that Jesus may be saying, do you really want to get healed in? What is he challenging you to do? I want you to think about that and really let it sink in. What is it that Jesus is asking of you? Let's pray. Father, Thank you for loving us so much that you don't want us to stay where we're at. You have better plans for us, bigger dreams for us. Your thoughts are higher than our thoughts, and your ways are higher than our ways. Your plans are always good, for you're a good, good Father. We're asking you, Father, to help us not to make excuses of why we are where we are. We take responsibility for that. We're here. And we're asking you for your help. Give us the courage to do whatever it is you tell us to do. We love you. In Jesus' name, everybody says?
Amen.
Amen. So as many of you noticed, we've rearranged for today's service, right? We all have never been here, I promise it's not like this all the time. This is different. Right? This is different. Part of the whole change thing stems from the fact that sometimes when we're in worship, I say we because I'm here too, okay? I'm putting myself in this boat. We sing songs without really looking at what we're singing. We know a song so well because we've sung it for so many years that the words just roll off of our tongue, but there's no heart behind it. Like we sing, you are good, you are good. And yet, sometimes, what is it? We just say the words with the melody, and deep down in here, we're going, God, are you even good? Are you even here? So part of our challenge today is let's connect our hearts to our worship. Let's connect our hearts to our words toward God. In other words, let's be pure in our worship. Because when we're thinking one thing but saying another, that's really not pure. It's not being one. It's not worshiping in the spirit of truth.
Right.
On your tables today, you'll notice that we have the celebration side of the card. There's the prayer side on one side, but there's a celebration side on the other. Before you write anything down, I want you to really think, what in your life can you thank God for? What has God done that you can really celebrate? If you're about to go bankrupt and your dog died and your life is a country song, you're still alive and you still got hope. You can at least thank Him for that. So I want you to take a moment and fill out a testimony on your card. There is something in your life God brought you through. And if you think long enough and hard enough, you can come up with it. It may have been years ago that you can think of, but there's something. And I want you to write that down. And then what we're going to do, just because it's changed and I'm stretching you guys, you're set up like in little small groups.
Right.
I want you to talk about it at your table. I want you to take a few moments and tell those that you're sitting with, what has God done in your life? And if you want to go ahead and tell Him what He's doing now, I'm good with that too. We have this place until 1 o'clock. There's not much more we have to do except for the business meeting. But I want you to take some time and really give God praise. Give God praise today. And let it start changing your perspective. We have a tendency, I wish this was on mic. We have a tendency to focus on the bad things in our life. Am I right?
Yes.
If you don't agree with me, then I need you to come show me how you do it. But we have a tendency to focus on the problems. We have a tendency to focus on the lack, on the deficits. This is one way you can start seeing that God really is for you, when you start recognizing what is He doing in your life. And you start thinking on those things. Paul tells us to think on the things that are what? Good, pure. I wish I could remember them all.
They're lovely.
Yeah, lovely, good report.
Pure.
He wants us to think on those things because that creates an attitude of praise within our hearts.
Yes.
It creates within us a change in our perspective. And when our perspective changes, our actions change, which then usually our lives change. And we don't become the person who makes the excuses. But we become that powerful one because we start understanding God is with us and God is for us. And that's where victory is, when we really understand that. That God is with us and God is for us. When we doubt one of the two, there's usually something off in our walk. But when we really understand that no matter what circumstances we're walking through, if God is with us and God is for us, hell's going to shudder. They're like, oh, snap. He knows who he is in Christ. Crap. Yeah, I just said that. Sorry. So, if you're in a rut, obey and get off your butt. Sound good? Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, take a few moments and write down what is God doing in your life.